there are movies that come out very, very, very infrequently that shape the future of cinema, that change the direction that movies go in. In 1931, Fritz Lang gave us M, and everything from Seven to, I'm assuming, probably even the Joker movie coming out in a couple of weeks, owes a debt to Fritz Lang for this movie. It wasn't the first serial killer movie, but M provides a dark, twisted look into the mind of a child killer, and it is implied child molester. Peter Lorre plays the killer in what is arguably, I think, his best performance. It's definitely, there's something so raw to it that it's a kind of performance that I don't remember seeing from anybody at that time. Um, Basically, the idea is that this town in Germany, the movie is in German, by the way, is everybody is hysterical. They're losing their minds with worry because their children are disappearing, and if found at all, turn up dead. The police, in desperation, are leaning on the criminal element in this town, and the criminals don't like that, and so they are determined to find the killer themselves. Uh, so you've got basically the entire town, everyone turning on each other. Nobody can even like walk their kid to school without being a suspect. And sort of gliding through this, whistling as he goes, is Peter Lorre. Um, and it's a testament to the fact that he is not portrayed as a black and white villain, despite the fact that his crimes are so horrendous. Uh, Fritz Lang has the courage to depict him as really a sick man who is kind of out of control. He can't stop. He you know he's disgusted with himself. He doesn't want to do what he's doing, but there's some kind of compulsion in him that is driving him to do it. He is, what he does is evil, and yet he himself as a person is so much more complicated than that. Uh, this is a movie that has been pored over and studied, and one that I've been fascinated with since I was in high school. There is an English language version of it included on the Criterion collection, but I prefer the German version because Fritz Lang really pushed. He was known as a director who was not very nice to his actors, and he really pushed Peter Lorre. And in that end sequence of the movie, the mock trial where Peter Lorre is being prosecuted by the criminals, um, you could see the exhaustion on his face. You can see that really Fritz Lang had pushed him to the point of physical and mental, to his limits, and he's at one point he gets pushed down some stairs, and he grabs for his knee, and you get the impression that, oh, he just really did injure himself, and Fritz Lang didn't care. It was just like, come on, keep going, show us what kind of an actor you are. And Peter Lorre gives us what I would say is one of the top 10 villains of all time. The Criterion Collection, I'm always very split on the Criterion Collection. Now, you'd say, well, because everybody loves the Criterion Collection. But, and they definitely choose great movies to feature. But I want to take a moment to dissent and challenge the notion that the Criterion Collection are the greatest Blu-rays and DVDs you could own. First of all, most of the information that other studios or other production companies for DVD and Blu-ray would provide us in like a form of a documentary or something, the Criterion Collection provides in the form of booklets, very, very thick, detailed booklets for sure, with some wonderful photographs and essays, reviews of the time. But nonetheless, it's not documentaries that are included. I own many films from the Criterion Collection, none of which have any kind of a real making of documentary, a retrospective documentary, and anything like that. The Criterion Collection, I mean, the restoration on this is beautiful, but like I said, they have the English language version. They've got a commentary, of course, by sort of historians. An old interview with Fritz Lang. It's a documentary on the restoration itself. Things that if you are a film student, you will absolutely want. You will absolutely want to see those. If you're more of a casual movie fan who isn't interested in like the color grading or things like that, then it might have been interesting to put in like some sort of a documentary, a movie like M. Absolutely, you could easily get an hour and a half documentary out of the making of M and the importance of it. So again, I'm not saying the Criterion Collection is the worst possible Blu-rays you can get. The picture itself and the sound quality is beautiful. I just wish that they had better supplemental material. But as for the movie itself, M is a 5 out of 5. This is classic cinema from a director who may not have been the nicest man, but who knew how to get performances out of his actors. I would wholeheartedly recommend it. I would recommend the Criterion Collection because the other DVD versions are not as cleaned up and nice looking. This is a movie to seek out if you care at all about film. If you're more of a, if your favorite movie in any given year might be a Transformers movie, I think you can skip M. But if you care more about like the history of cinema and wondering what early talkies, early sound movies were really like, this is groundbreaking and it absolutely deserves your attention.